Hi. Today I'm doing my June. Okay, I'm going to be like every other booktuber in the whole planet and say, I can't believe it's June already. But it is, and I am about to do my TBR for the month of June. This TBR is so much fun because I did something a tad different than I've done in the past. So in the past, I have definitely done Librarian Picks My TBR videos, but I have never done one like this. And here's why. I am pitting two libraries against each other. So where I live, I have an abundance of riches, library-wise. I have access to my county system of libraries and also my city system of libraries. And they both have Librarian recommends like surveys that you can fill out. And so I filled this survey out for my county library and for my city library, and I asked them to recommend 5 books for me which would restore my faith in humanity, which were uplifting books, and which were great summer reads. And what I got back from each library is so utterly different that I'm excited. I'm really excited and also really humored because it really shows you how very different my county library is from my city library. Probably the constituent dynamics that they each serve. So the librarian from my city library recommended the following. Please remember that this stack of 5 books is meant to represent books that will restore my faith in humanity, that are uplifting and are great summer reads. I have my doubts, but we will see. So what I will be reading for this is Housekeeping by Marilyn Robinson. I, of course, have heard of this book, but I have not read it. I have actually never read anything by Marilyn Robinson, even though I'm very aware of almost every book that they've put out. I do believe that I am aware of this because at some point she was associated with, in a discussion or something, Windleberry, who I love. I have always avoided Marilyn Robinson, however, because I have never heard the words like life-affirming, uplifting faith in humanity associated with her books. I've heard a lot of like kind of really depressing things about her books. So I'm very, very curious now. I picked up a used copy of this one, and that will be my first read from my city librarian. The second read from my city librarian is Rosewater by Tade Thompson. I believe this is a story about an alien invasion. So, will it restore my faith in humanity? I don't know. Is it a great summer read? I don't know. I believe it is about an alien invasion and that it's Afrofuturism, which is of interest to me, but not, I don't think, exactly what I asked for. But I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong. Let's find out. The next one that was recommended to me for by my city librarian is another sci-fi, The City We Became. And this is by N.K. Jemisin, and I know N.K. Jemisin is a very famous author. I have not read anything by them at all. And I'm not sure what this one is about. It says, every city has a soul. Some are ancient as myths. Others are as new and destructive as children. New York, she's got 6. And all 6 will be called to arms in the greatest battle the city has ever fought. Is this a great summer read? I don't know. Will this restore my faith in humanity? I don't know. But we'll find out. The next one is so utterly different. I've got 2 more recommended by this librarian from my city library system. The next one is Alice Munro, The View from Castle Rock. There was actually a different Alice Munro recommended to me, but it so entirely and completely did not interest me that I picked a different Alice Munro. And this one does interest me. This is short stories placed, I think, mostly in the 1800s, in, I believe, Scotland, very loosely based on some of Alice Munro's own history. I have never read any Alice Munro. I have a really hard time with short stories. I don't like them very often. It is rare that I really love a short story collection. I might love a single short story, but a collection, I lose heart with reading them for the most part. The last time I really loved a short story collection was that one I read last December of just random Christmas short stories by lots of different authors. I think if it's a complete standalone short story, I'm good. But when they're collected, I don't want to continue reading after the first 3 or so. So we'll see how this goes. It was recommended. Alice Munro was recommended. The book that was recommended to me, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was about women. All the stories were about women, and it sounded so depressing. I didn't want to go near it. So we're going to do this one. And then random. This feels so random, but this was the last book that was recommended to me by the librarian at my city library. And that is Joanna Trollops, Girl from the South. And I mean, I have never read anything by Joanna Trollope. I have never seen that woman's face before. Is she related to Anthony Trollope? I don't know. But it looks so different from all the other things that this librarian recommended to me. This says that Gillian Stokes was born and raised in Charleston, like her mother and grandmother before her, but with her unconventional style, she's always felt awkward among her genteel family. Then Gillian has a chance to leave Charleston for London. Ooh, I like that. And finds the promise of something different, a place she feels she belongs. She loves her she loves her assured roommate Tilly and Tilly's photographer boyfriend Henry. I'm going to stop reading at that point. This sounds like a summer read. It does. I like that she's going to go to London. I like books set in London. I don't know if I'm going to love this or not. This doesn't seem like the kind of book I usually read. None of these books recommended by this librarian seem like the kind of books I usually read. I have serious questions about their summer read worthiness and also their ability to be uplifting. This seems to be, based on appearance alone, the closest to that request. We'll see. We'll see. I'm pitting that stack of 5 by my city librarian against the next stack of 5 by my county librarian. And you're going to see they're very, very different. So the first book that was recommended to me as a uplifting, restore my faith in humanity, great summer read book is The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George. This has been on my personal TBR for a really long time, so I was excited to see this recommended to me. I will be reading that one for sure. The next one recommended by my librarian at the county library system is How the Penguins Saved Veronica by Hazel Pryor. Are you sensing how very, very different these two libraries are from each other? And so this was recommended as a feel-good summer read that would restore my faith in humanity. This is, I think, about an elderly woman who decides to take a trip to Antarctica to count penguins. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's what it's about. Then this one was recommended, The Moon, the Stars, and Madame Barova by Ruth Hogan. Never read anything by Ruth Hogan, but I do see her books all over the place. And it is about a tarot reader, palmist, and clairvoyant on the Brighton seafront. Other than that, I don't know what it's about, but I am attracted to this cover, so I'm excited about that. I was then recommended another book that's been on my personal TBR for a long time, and that is Miss Vinson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce. This is about an older woman and her friend, secretary, who go on a trip to locate a beetle, or collect several beetles. I don't know really, but it's been on my list for a long time, and I think this cover is stunning. And so I was excited to see that one recommended. And then finally, at the end of January, I swore I would not read another book by this author. Light a Penny Candle was the bane of my January, but Maeve Binchy has made it onto another reading list, another TBR. thanks to this challenge. Finally, my last book that was recommended to me as a great summer read, a feel-good book that would restore my faith in humanity by my county librarian, is Minding Frankie by Maeve Binchy. And this one, it says, is a story about unconventional families, relationships which aren't quite what they seem, and the child at the heart of everyone's lives. There's more, but that's all I'm going to read. I believe this is a contemporary or modern, perhaps, story, so not set during World War II. It's also significantly shorter than Light a Penny Candle, and I love that I bought a used copy of this from Better World Books and got a special Waterstones edition with an extra short story inside. So I'm hoping that I love this because I really love this book. But we'll see. So just to recap, I am having a little friendly competition here between my two library systems. I've pitted them against each other unbeknownst to them, gave them the exact same criteria for the kinds of books I was looking for in a TBR. And my county librarian suggested these 5 books, which I will be reading. And my city librarian suggested these 5 books, which I will be reading. I gotta tell ya, I think my county has me down better than my city library, but we will see. We will see. We will see. Open minds. Also going to read several more books. There are 2 books that I'm just feeling like reading. They don't really fall into any categories. I really have been seeing this one all over the place and I want to check it out. This is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and it promotes itself as being, what is it? A novel of high fantasy and low stakes. I'm there for that. So I am looking forward to giving this a try. I don't know if I'll love it, but I think that I will. I also have been wanting to read this for a while and had the opportunity to get a pretty cheap copy on Book Outlet, so I grabbed it. This is Anita Seth's I Belong Here, A Journey Along the Backbone of Britain. And it says this book will make the world a better place. So I am really wanting to read some travel-esque type books. I always do this every summer because I'm dying to go traveling, and this will be yet another summer when I just stay put. Hopefully next summer, fingers crossed, I can get somewhere else, and that will be so much fun. But for now, books are my vehicle, so I'm going to use that to transport me in June, which for me, half the month is a work month and the other half of the month is my summer vacation. So I'm probably going to read that during summer vacation. Then I have 4 pre-orders. I got I got 7 pre-orders in the month of May, but I ended up not being able to wait on a few of those. And so I've read them already, but I have 4 left that I haven't read yet that I'm going to read in June. The first one I think is a great summer read. This is Mary Kay Andrews' The Homewreckers, Love, Murder, and Faulty Wiring. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. And then I've got Peace Bunny Island. This is a nonfiction about a boy who starts an island full of bunnies to create comfort pets. I don't know. I'm looking forward to reading this. This is nonfiction. This book has been out for ages. I pre-ordered the paperback copy of it, I think over a year ago, and they just kept pushing off the print date. So this isn't actually, I mean, it's a pre-order, but the book's been out for like a year. So if you've heard of this and I'm calling it a pre-order, don't be freaked out. It's just that it took forever, for whatever reason, for this paperback copy to get to me. Then I've got When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. Super excited about this one. I don't think it needs any introduction. And then I've got The Hacienda by Isabelle. Hanis, I don't know what that little symbol means. I never took Spanish. I'm sorry. I took German. I'm sorry. Das tut mir leid. But I cannot say it in Spanish. The Hacienda by Isabelle Hanis, and I'm so looking forward to this one. It says, it's got gothic vibes, sounds a little Jane Eyre-ish, maybe. Really excited. Then I've been reading Anne of Green Gables every month for the last 4 months. I missed 1 month, so I read it 3 times this year so far. I'm moving forward into Anne of Avonlea. I'll read this as many times as feels appropriate, and then probably move forward into Anne of the Island. I'm also really craving my next Rosamund Pilcher. So I'm going to read The Shell Seekers. I do have Homecoming or Coming Home, and I also have September, but I want to read September in September. And Coming Home, I don't know, it feels more like a fall sort of book, so I'm holding off on that one. I think people have told me to read this last, but I'm going to ignore that and read it now. I'm very excited to read my next Pilcher. Of course, Bean's big book bash pick is The Thornbirds, so I will be reading that. A rollover from my February TBR. It's the last one, and then I will have finished my February TBR, is The Kingdoms by Natasha Pulley. I am genuinely excited to read it. It's just taken a while. For a prompt from the Read Harder Challenge, I'm going to read, what was the prompt? For the prompt of an asexual character, I was looking for a list of books that have asexual characters, and this came up. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, so I'm going in believing that list, and I'm going to read Every Heart a Doorway. I know that this is a very well-loved series. I've never read one before, so I'm excited to read that. And I really love this little novella in its little hardback form, so I'm hoping that I love this so that I can get the whole set because it just makes me happy. The Shakespeare that I'm reading this month, I don't have a single copy of it. I've got the copy that's in my big bind-up from the Royal Shakespeare Company, so I'll put a copy of that here, and that is A Comedy of Errors, which I like. It's silly, but I like it, and I think after the last... Oh, wait, Midsummer Night's Dream was last, so we're primed. We're primed. My Agatha Christie for the month is A Pocketful of Rye. I know absolutely nothing about this. Nothing. I love that mint green cover, but I know nothing about this. Does look like there might be some poison tea. I don't know. Agatha, she's never done me wrong this whole year, so I'm just being happy with it. My reread for the month is Susanna Kersley's Bellwether. I listened to this on audio 4 years ago, and loved it. It is a ghost story, a dual timeline, a haunted house museum. I just really, really loved it. I want to listen to it again, but I want to also read along while I listen. I know I want to listen again because I loved the audiobook. So I want to listen to it, but I also want to read along, and I have a physical copy of it now, so it's my reread for the month. And then I have 3 books that I'm going to read that were part of my December birthday book haul to myself. One is this play by Kay Tempest. Kay Tempest is my favorite living creator of all kinds, and I wish with all my heart that I could have seen this performed in London, but alas, here I am in the States. But I'm going to read Paradise by Kay Tempest, and then I have 2 of a new to me author, which I think I'm really excited about, and that is Mary Stewart. I have 2 books by Mary Stewart. I think they're fairly different from each other. One is Touch Not the Cat. And this says, tell Bryony the cat. It's in the cat on the pavement, the map, the letter, in the brook. Tell Bryony, my little Bryony, to be careful. Danger. Ashley Court, the tumble-down ancestral home of the Ashley family, all blessed with the gift of being able to speak to each other without words. When Bryony Ashley's father dies, under mysterious circumstances, his final words, a cryptic warning to her, Bryony returns from abroad to uncover Ashley Court's secrets. What did her father's message mean? What lies at the center of the overgrown maze in the garden? And who is trying to prevent Bryony from discovering the truth? Touch Not the Cat. And then I have this one also by Mary Stewart, called Rose Cottage. And this one says, beyond the weedy garden with its riot of rose bushes, nothing had changed, and someone was crossing the bridge to approach the garden gate, someone I knew well. It's the summer of 1947. Kate Herrick, a war widow, returns to her childhood home for a final visit before the house is sold. But Rose Cottage is not the idyllic paradise she remembers from her youth, and someone has been there before her. As Kate uncovers an old secret that haunts the home she thought she knew, she is forced to confront a dark truth from her own past. I don't know, they just sound great. And I believe they're both written in the 70s, which I kind of like books from that time period, written in that time period. So I'm just really looking forward to it. That is my stack. I just did that so fast. That is my stack. I kind of have 3 distinct stacks. I've got the pre-order stack. I've got the library battle stack, which I'm really excited to find out who wins, who'll get the most 5 stars. That's what I'm going to do. And then I've got these are the books that I always read every month stack. I'm really excited about this stack. I feel like there's a great mix of genres. I've got classics and sci-fi and romance and middle grade and contemporary and gothic. You're blowing my mind. I'm blowing my own mind. I'm the one that made this stack. Tell me, are you going to read any of these books? Have you read any of these books? I know a lot of them are backlist titles. I'm kind of a backlist reader. I say that and I've got 5 brand new books on here, but still, I am kind of a backlist reader. So if you've read them, let me know what you think. Also, go ahead and tell me in the comments below, who do you think made the best stack? Do you think that, based on my criteria, the county library made the better stack or the city library made the better stack? And if there's anything on there that's really not life affirming, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I want to read it for myself. Anyway, yeah, I gotta go back to work. Recorded this on my lunch break. So let's go read or work, whichever comes first.